Hello and welcome to this ZebraTech training video. This training module is intended for the Western Australian abalone industry, and today we'll be discussing how we can use the ZebraTech deck logger together with the wet tag and the digital measuring board. From time to time, ZebraTech releases firmware updates to improve the performance of the deck logger. These will be made available to you using Dropbox. In your email from us, you will have a link to a Dropbox. Click on that and the Dropbox will open, giving you access to your update. Here you can see the Western Australian Abalone Dropbox page and the three folders: Data, Firmware Upgrade and Operation Manuals. Okay, in the Firmware Upgrade folder you'll see the update that we want to put onto our USB stick. Clicking on that and you'll see a download button in the center of your page. Okay, again click on that and select Direct Download. Here it looks like you need to sign in or log in, but down the bottom you can select No Thanks and continue to download. Okay, Dropbox wants to know where to put the file, so select your removable disk and save. Alright, now it's time to check that the USB stick does have the file that we want and that it is the only file in the root directory, so that the deck logger can recognize it. All done. Now that you've got your upgrade on your USB stick, simply undo the USB cap, pop in your USB. Okay, now let's switch on our deck logger. And the first thing we need to do is to do the upgrade. So we will go into option number 2, Offload Data. And here you will see option number 4 is Maintenance. And option number 1 is Firmware Upgrade. Once you've inserted your USB stick, you can press 1. And here you can push the install button, push 2 to install. The next time you upgrade, it will actually be easier. And finally push OK to continue. And the logger will again reboot and it should be all ready to go with your new script. Your deck logger can either be plugged into a power supply using the provided cable, or it can be used on its own for at least 2 full days fishing. Obviously it's advisable to keep it fully charged and get in the habit of making sure it's back on a charger after every trip. The deck logger can safely be left on charge unattended. It has safeguards to prevent overheating of the battery. To get a full charge will take several hours of charging, and I would not recommend heading out for a day's fishing without at least a 70% charge. Another way to check battery status is by selecting logger status, which is button number 3. And here in the status menu you can see the battery is at 60% currently and VMS is disabled, and the logger serial number is also there. It's very important to remember that when you've finished charging or using the USB, you should always put these caps back on firmly so that there's no water ingress while you're out working. This is your ZebraTech wet tag. It contains a temperature sensor and a depth sensor. It's pressure activated, which means it needs to be at least 2 meters under the water before it starts working, and it needs to be under there for at least 30 seconds. When you bring it out of the water, make sure that it comes up clear of the water, and it'll need about 10 seconds before it talks to the deck logger. The range for this is approximately 20 meters, so you need to be fairly close to your vessel when you bring it out of the water. Your deck logger is set up to read any of the wet tags, but to make it work you specify which wet tag you want to use with your deck logger. To do this, switch on the logger and go into option number 3, logger status. Here in the status menu you can see a pen icon. Push the corresponding button and you'll see the configuration screen. Number 1 lets us set the wet tag list, and here we can enter in the wet tag number 208. Once that's selected, push check and OK to confirm the list. Your wet tag is now able to communicate with your deck logger. Let's go through that process one more time, but this time we'll introduce the ZebraTech measuring board. First of all, just for practice, let's come back out of that menu and back to the status menu. Once again, we're going to select the pen icon, and here this time we're going to select number 2, maintaining measuring board list. Again, we're going to select the pen icon, and from here we enter the measuring board ID number, in this case 133. Push the check mark and push OK one more time to confirm the list. So now the deck logger is set up to receive measurements from the digital measuring board and also from our wet tag. Another way we can add peripherals to our device is by coming in through the Start Fishing trip. Push button 1 and immediately we can see that our wet tag has been entered and our measuring board has been entered. But if we want to add another wet tag or another device, again we can come through here back to our configuration list and do the same thing as before. Okay, great. The deck logger is charged, it's updated, and it's set up to talk to the measuring board and to the wet tags, so we're ready to go fishing. First, an important note. To be able to access GPS and VMS, the deck logger needs to be able to have clear access to the sky. It might work by window, but it's better to be outdoors with it to get a good position and transfer data. Okay, so let's switch the unit on. It'll take a few moments to boot up, and then we'll be taken to the opening screen, the Abalone logger screen. And we're ready to start a fishing trip, so let's push button 1. And here again we can see the trip settings with the wet tag and the measuring board that we're using today. Let's continue, and we're in our fishing trip. Imagine our first catch bag is landed. Pushing button 1, you can see that we can enter here the weight and the number of abalone. Down the side here you'll see the buttons to move between the weight and the count. Let's enter in 55 kilos, and scrolling down, let's put in 65 abalone. When we're done, we just push save, and here you can see the total so far and its weight. We can enter in as many catch bags as we want, and when wet tags are lifted or other data is entered, you'll also be able to see it down here. And when we're ready, we can finish our trip by pushing button 5 and confirming yes or no. So let's push yes. Here you can enter trip details such as swell, visibility, and your CDR number. Let's put in, for example, 1.5 meters swell, and scrolling down, visibility today was 12 meters. Down again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your CDR number, and finally push save. Okay, so we've finished our trip and it's time to offload data. There are 2 ways to do this. First, let's use the USB method. Unscrew your USB plug and pop in your USB. Okay. From the menu you can see that number 2 is offload data, so push that. And in the USB menu, offload to USB stick is option number 1, so go ahead and push option number 1. It's very quick. The USB offload has finished and is successful, so we can push OK to exit. And it's that easy.
And now for a quick introduction to the ZebraTech measuring board. Press the green button for your first measurement, the measurement that's highlighted on the screen. Press the blue button for your second measurement. Both measurements are highlighted on the screen. They are then sent to the deck logger to be stored. They are also stored on the measuring board. Turn the measuring board over and remove all of the screws from the base. Remove the base. Remove the two AA batteries with an O-ring pick or a small screwdriver. Insert new batteries, checking polarity is correct. Positive points towards the display end of the measuring board. Remove O-ring and clean the O-ring groove. Apply a thin line of grease to the O-ring groove. Apply a thin layer of O-ring grease to the new O-ring. Install the new O-ring in the groove. Clean the O-ring face on the base. Reinstall the base, ensuring the O-ring is in place. Putting the measuring board under a tap works well. Run water over the whole board. Moving the jaw up and down will help flush out grit from the rail sliders.